Hello everyone, welcome to the next pattern MCQs and let's see question number 11. In this question, we have got a 72-year-old woman experiencing 10 to 15 minute episodes of blurring of vision in the right eye over the past week. Her eye examination is normal. She denied the headache, numbness or weakness in her extremities. She did remember a 10-minute episode of double vision. Recently had difficulty chewing her breakfast. Jaw becomes tired. So what should be the next step? They are not asking you the best step. Now guys, I already do tell you so many times that while you are doing these kind of clinical questions, please pay a head towards the last line and specifically the word which is asking the question. Here they are asking you the next step, not the best step. Okay, so at times this will not make a difference, but at times this will make a difference. So this is very, very important. Your options are the carotid Dopplers, antiphospholipid antibody levels, the erythrocyte sedimentation rate and acetylcholine receptor antibody levels. Now before telling you the answer, we should go towards the diagnosis. Are we able to make some diagnosis? She is an elderly woman who is having the transient episodes of blurring of the vision. So this is your transient obscuration of vision. So what is this? This is your amaurosis fugax. So where you are suspecting, either you are suspecting it in cases of the ocular ischemic syndrome, ischemia is there, or you have got the raised intracranial pressure. So here I am not having the features of raised intracranial pressure, but I am having the features of the ocular ischemia because she is also having the 10-minute episode of double vision. Diplopia is there, and also I am having difficulty in chewing the breakfast because the jaw has become tired. So there is ischemia to the masseter muscle also. Then you have got ischemia to the muscle supplied by the oculomotor nerve. So we have got oculomotor ischemia. So that means we have got the typical ocular ischemic syndrome which is manifesting as the transient attacks of obscuration of vision. We have episode of double vision also. We have got the claudication where the jaw is not able to function properly because you have got the ischemia of the masseter muscle also, and they are asking you the next step. So what is the diagnosis? So most probably this is a case of your temporal arteritis. So in the temporal arteritis, if you see, okay, you can easily see what are the things which are helpful in diagnosing this condition. So if you start from the very beginning, we have got tender temporal arteries. So the first important thing is that your jaw gets tired while you are chewing. Then you have got that is polymyalgia rheumatica. Muscle aches are there because because of the ischemia. So what you are mistaking for, you can actually mistake it for the rheumatism. So it is not rheumatism, right? Then because of the temporal arteritis, the patient may also be suspecting the tension headache. So this is not the tension headache. So these things should be kept in mind while you are making the diagnosis of the temporal arteritis. Okay, and if you see here, the temporal arteritis, what are the things you require for the diagnosis? So the first important thing, because they are just asking you the next. So the first important thing that we are going to assess in a patient of temporal arteritis is your erythrocytic sedimentation rate, that is ESR. Now what about the carotid? Now I do require the carotid only when I do not have the symptoms. I have the symptoms, okay, and I can do the ESR. That will purely, they will write that correlate clinically, and if you are correlating clinically, you are easily making the diagnosis and you can give the steroid shots. Yes, if you do not have those typical symptoms, or if you want to make it doubly sure, then you can go for this carotid Doppler. So certainly this will not be your next step because you have already the symptoms. So next step will be your erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Now what about the antiphospholipid antibody level? So antiphospholipid, you could do there also, we can have transient blurring of the vision, but that will not be there in the elderly patients. That will be in the young patient, and our patient is a patient who is 72-year female. So I am not going to suspect this phospholipid syndrome here. Then going with the D option, acetylcholine receptor antibody levels. These levels are actually done in the myasthenia gravis. Now, can it be a case of myasthenia gravis? Look at the features. Now, myasthenia gravis is common in males. Then I do not get these transient episodes of blurring of vision. I will get the blurring of vision, okay. More common is your ptosis. The most common ocular feature of myasthenia gravis is the ptosis, that is not there. Then of course I can have the ocular motility because I have mainly the problem at the level of the neuromuscular junctions. So they are not giving you the motility defects also, and certainly I do not have the jaw claudication in cases of myasthenia gravis. So it's very unlikely that this is a case of myasthenia gravis, and therefore the acetylcholine receptor antibody levels are not required, antiphospholipid antibody levels are not required. So certainly you have got two important things from which you have to make out whether you should go for ESR or you should go for carotid Doppler. Now though when carotid Doppler is a very good investigation for the temporal arteritis, but do I require it as a next step? I do have so many things in my patient. I have blurring of vision, I have diplopia, I have jaw claudication, so I can certainly go for the ESR as the next best step. So I hope the question becomes clear to you, and you are convinced with the answer, and you have also understood the approach, how to go about the options, because I think this happens most of the time that you are stuck up in the two options. So how to choose which option to go with, I am trying to have a discussion over that, so that even if you get a similar kind of question, of course we cannot say that you will get just the same question, you are able to develop that rational approach which is required to solve that question. Thank you and happy ophthalmology.